Hi, good morning. Welcome to week 3 of Escape the Readathon, and to, if you're not participating, what's going to be just a regular weekly reading vlog. But you might have noticed I did not upload a weekly reading vlog for week 2. I had every great intention of doing so, but it was one of the worst weeks at work I've ever had. I have been teaching for 14 years now. I know, I look so old. 14 years, teaching veteran, and it was by far one of the worst weeks I've dealt with behavior in my career. I have a wonderful boss who basically just let me fuss at him about where I see education going and what we are allowing some of these children to get away with without consequences. It is not preparing them for the real world, and it is making my job a living hell. So, love that. I was not really in the mental headspace to read, and for the longest time last week, I thought it was me. And then I finished the book I was reading, and I was like, it might have been me, but it might have also been the book. So last week during Escape the Readathon, Scientists, the team that I am co-hosting, went through several different prompt changes. So I picked this up originally as one of my favorite thriller tropes, which is like women's revenge. And it is that kind of story. I read 20 pages and then we shifted to submitting for pages. And then I didn't have time to read for a few days. So then we switched again and we needed to read an underhyped book. This book just came out and I have heard not a soul talk about it. So we're going to call it underhyped as well. Then that came and went when I'd only read like 50 more pages. And so finally I was able to finish this book and submit it for pages yesterday. And we've now moved on to something else. So it was a very, very, very busy week for the Scientists during week 2. But week 3, okay, we're starting. But before I talk about week 3, let me give you my opinion on this book. I gave it a 2.5. I really did not have that much fun with it. I've read other Lisa Unger books before and I have thoroughly enjoyed them, but this was not one of them. It read very slowly. We start by following our main character of Anna, who just got broken up with by this very rich executive guy who owns his own company. His name is Paul, and she is calling all of her friends and her sister together to have a very fancy brunch while they have an exorcism. This exorcism is basically just deleting all pictures of him off their phone, blocking all of his accounts, like pretending that he doesn't exist in their space. There are so many POVs in this book. We essentially get a POV from every person who is at the party. We get a POV from the cop. We get a POV from a character who is now like dead from their family. We get POVs from some of the kids of these women. And I could not get invested in a single character because there were so many POVs. I like multi-POV. It has to be done right though, and I don't think that this was right. And then by the end of the book, I feel like the ending would have paid off more if I'd actually gotten invested in like a singular character, but that didn't happen for me. So I don't even think I told you, while they're at the exorcism, the ex that they are exorcising has been found dead, and a cop shows up at their door and is like, hey, who's connected to this guy? Because he's just been unalived. And that's like the kickoff for the rest of the story. I did not do this book service talking about it, but you know what? It didn't do me a service reading it. Okay, so let's talk week 3. Let's talk what we're looking at going into the week. I don't know why I just hit the table. I'm sorry if that shook you. We are now supposed to be reading a book that we heard about for the first time on BookTube, which is so exciting to me because it means I'm picking something up that's actually on my TBR. We love to see that, don't we? I think it was last year during Escape, or maybe it was during another readathon. But Cassidy, it covers with Cassidy, picked up the Bourbon Boys. I think that's what this series is called. And she like binged this romance series. So I have been wanting to read it ever since then. I saw the first book in Barnes & Noble the other day and I was like, I gotta get it. I put it on my TBR, sprayed edges. We got a little horsey on the back. But this is about a retired cop. I think he makes bourbon with his family, and I think there's like some sort of a curse tied to their family that like has to do with like their romances not lasting or something. I could be making that up. I think someone at work told me that. But she comes to town and she's lying about who she is. She's lying about where she came from, and obviously there's going to be some romantic tension. Maybe romantic suspense, I'm not sure. It looks like it's going to lean a little bit darker. I don't know if that's true or not though, but I am very excited. I think I'm actually going to be reading this on KU because my week is busy. And that kind of brings us to the theme of this vlog. I'm not really doing themes, but this week is going to be themed because it just is. I have to end the school year this week. I have to pack up my classroom and move to a different classroom. I have to give exams. I have to grade exams. So we've got all of that going on. I am currently in a play, which I'm going to talk about in a second, and we're doing some reading. So like I'm trying to balance it all and remain a sane human being. Let's get some caffeine in our system. I love Diet Coke. I love it so much. Okay, let's talk about the play really quick. I have been cast in a show called Five Women Wearing the Same Dress by Alan Ball. If you don't know who Alan Ball is, he was actually one of the writers on True Blood, which is really interesting when you compare it to this story. So this story is about five bridesmaids who are in Knoxville, Tennessee. None of them really like the bride. My character kind of does, but they all end up in the bedroom of the younger sister trying to hide out from this wedding. They all have reasons for being up there. They all have reasons for not wanting to interact with the other guests. And none of them know each other that well, so they bond in this bedroom. So my character is Frances, and she is your typical like super Christian cousin, okay? She sees the world very black and white. She is very naive to the fact that like people do drugs and people drink and people have sex. Like this is the most shocking thing in the world to her. And when all of these other women come upstairs and they start just talking about their lives, like she is utterly appalled and uncomfortable, but at the same time, she wants to be a part of the conversation. Is it very plot heavy? No. Is it a character study that I'm so excited about and I think is going to be great for the correct audience? Yes, we are doing this in a very, very small space. It's in a strip mall behind my apartment complex, actually, so I can walk to rehearsals, which is lovely and saves me some time. There is a great chunk of Act 1 that I'm not even on stage, so that's why I'm going to bring my Kindle and get some reading in while I'm not on stage. And we're going to have 6 performances of this little number in June. I'm very excited. We're gonna get to wear some ugly, ugly bridesmaids dresses. And like I said, I just get so excited about bringing characters and bringing writing to life. I'm so excited about it. I'm excited about my character's little glow up too. I feel like it's gonna be like a little 90s movie. I'm covering up my work name on my shirt, but as these things go, right as I get settled to start reading a book for something, Escape the Readathon shifts, and we are now in a 24-hour readathon, which is still perfect because I haven't submitted any books and only like pages that you read during the readathon count. So Bourbon and Lies is going to go towards this readathon, and I'm listening to The Caretaker. So I have a physical book and an audiobook, and I really don't have time to sit here and talk about the books right now, but it's just exciting, and I wanted to make sure I updated in real time because I will forget to say that something happened. I'm about to be moving my classroom to another classroom. It is a mess in here, and so I think an audiobook is going to be perfect for that while I get a whole bunch of stuff done. So let's get creeped out by The Caretaker and move some crap. So the exciting news is that eventually there's going to be a bookshelf right here, but the not exciting news is I have to find the time and the motivation to build yet another bookshelf by myself. So it's been a long day. It's been a hot day. We are fitting in the reading, the teaching, and the acting today. Like full stop. Like I'm doing my thing today. So I gave an exam first block and I spent the rest of the day with the few students that were still at school, packing stuff up, taking stuff to the dumpster, moving stuff to my new classroom. And I am also 25% into The Caretaker. I think that puts me at like chapter 11. So I'm like around 70 pages into The Caretaker. I have a very needy cat who missed me all day today. She cannot stand to be without me. So I have been listening to this in the hour and a half that I have between getting home from work and going to rehearsal. I vacuumed my room, I made my bed, I started another load of laundry, I did the dishes, I cleaned the counter off. Something that I really, really struggle with during busy phases of my life like this are like keeping up with my apartment. I live by myself and it is so easy for me to just be like, well, I'm the only one that lives here. I'll get to it when I get to it. No, we are keeping things tidy so that I don't end up in a big like pile of stress later, because this is very, very typical of me. I look like a big pile of stress because I've been sweating and moving stuff, so not looking my best right now. But let's talk about The Caretaker. In this book, we are following our main character of Macy, who is very down on her luck. Her parents are not a part of her life. Her father has died. Her mother walked out on her and her sister when they were very young, and they have been left with a lot of debt and are barely making it. Macy is a graphic designer who can't seem to get hired in the graphic design field. She's worked odd jobs. Her little sister is still in school and also has a tendency to steal things, so she also is not holding down a job. And like they're getting to the point where they can't pay rent, they can't pay for medication. And so Macy sees an ad on Craigslist that says that this old woman is in need of a caretaker for her husband. Things start to feel really unsettling from the very beginning, but you can't really put your finger on what feels unsettling. It's just the way Marcus Kluwer writes atmosphere for a lot of it. But we follow Macy as she takes a bus and then has to walk to this interview because she doesn't have a functioning car at the moment. And when she gets there, the old woman who put the ad in the paper is like, hey, so I know I put the ad in my paper saying that my husband needed a caretaker, but surprise, he's dead. And what I really need is for someone to take care of the house according to my husband's rules or rights. So Macy is really freaked out by this, but it's $9,000 for 3 days of work. So she goes home. There's a video that she has to watch that explains the rights. They're very odd. There's rabbits involved. There's making sure certain lights are off in the house at certain hours of the day. And her sister Gemma is trying to convince her to not take the job. She's like, this sounds wacko. But Macy's like, you don't understand how bad we need the money. And that's where I am right now. She understands what the rules are. She understands that taking this job is a little bit cuckoo bananas, but she also knows that she and her sister really need the money. And again, I can't really tell you what the horror is yet, other than the book feels really, really, really unsettling. So I'm gonna put this down for right now. Going to listen to my lines as I head to rehearsal, even though it's 3 minutes away. I'm not really going to get to listen to much of them. And I'm also going to bring my Kindle. We are running the show from start to finish tonight. And I am in, I would say, the first third of Act 1, and then I spend the rest of it off stage. So I wish I were one of those people that could learn lines while I am at rehearsal, but I cannot. It's like I can't do homework when I'm at school. I was that kid. I had to save homework for out of school. I don't know why my brain works like that. I cannot learn lines while I'm at rehearsal. So that is an at-home task. I'm going to bring my Kindle and read some of Bourbon and Lies because I only got 2 chapters in last night. You're like, why are you wearing such a fancy bracelet? I kick off the show putting a diamond bracelet on my wrist, and that is what starts the trajectory of the rest of the play. And I don't want to forget to bring a bracelet because I have to put it on myself and take it off, and I really need to start practicing like the mechanism of putting it on by myself and taking it off, which is not an easy task. And y'all can tell I also have like baby wrists. They are not proportional to the rest of my body by any means, and this is going to be a challenge, but I just did it. You can see I have baby wrists. Okay, I have reading updates for you. I have Escape the Readathon updates for you, but first I'm going into Barnes & Noble because Cassidy has influenced me. So we're gonna go together. It's been a long, long day. The weather was just super stormy. Now it's sunny. It's supposed to get stormy again. So I think we need a book. Do I know when I'm gonna read it? No. Am I probably gonna buy more than one book? Yes. I'm also going to get a gift card for my secret pal at work because we're doing like our reveal tomorrow, and who doesn't want Barnes & Noble gift cards? Cat back there who just feels like causing ruckus at the moment. So this is the second time I'm filming this clip. No ruckus, okay? Okay. Anyway, let's do reading updates. Things have been moving so fast for the scientists in Escape the Readathon that I don't even know that I'm telling you the information correctly. Ruckus. Stop it. No ruckus. Thank you. Okay. So let me see if I can figure this out, okay? We were in a 24-hour readathon to get into Winston's lounge. I think I'm saying this correctly. We got into Winston's lounge, submitted for pages. Then we had to unlock Cafe Nova. So we've been through it. But in order to unlock Cafe Nova today, I did finally finished The Caretaker. I started this and got like 2 chapters in a few weeks ago, and because I've read so many books in the interim, I decided to just start it over. I still feel like I need an in-depth explanation of exactly what happened on the last couple of pages, but I really liked this. I think I'm going to give it a 4.5. I gave We Used to Live Here a 4. That one was a little bit more on the confusing abstract scale for me until I read more about that book. This one was a little bit more straightforward, but there are still some things that I'm like, I'm not sure I'm interpreting that the way I'm supposed to be interpreting it. But there were so many subtle creepy things in this book, and that is how I prefer my horror. I don't like things to just be like slapped in my face. That's what she said. I'm so sorry. I don't like that. So I like it when things are more subtle and they slowly build on each other, and the tension and the anxiety is slowly building. And you really feel tension and anxiety with the main character. She has got a lot of trauma and grief built up in her past, and it touches on some obsessive compulsive tendencies, the way our thoughts can spiral, and the way that some people truly feel like the only way they have control over situations is to control everything, until you realize that what you are trying to control is now controlling you. Like, it was a big metaphor for that. The end was very creepy, but like I said, I'm not sure I'm interpreting it correctly. So 4.5, I will truly read anything by this author, and I cannot wait to make my granny square for this one. I think it's gonna look really cool. So I did go to Barnes & Noble. I was there to get Beneath by Ariel Sullivan because Cassidy in her most recent vlog raved about it, and so I have been so excited to pick it up. Barnes & Noble didn't have it, but continuing the dystopian theme, I did go ahead and pick up Broken Dove by Danny Francis. This one is so much more chunky than Silver Elite, or at least it feels chunkier than Silver Elite. It's almost 600 pages. So I will be reading this one 100%. I need a little bit of a refresher of Silver Elite, but I don't feel like I have to reread it. I'm trying to avoid rereading. Not because I don't want to reread, but like, there's so many books out. And so since I could not find Beneath at Barnes & Noble, I got it on my Kindle, which, you know, it's half the price. So I probably should have done that anyway. So yeah, I picked up Beneath by Ariel Sullivan. So it's just going to be a dystopian summer. I put up a poll in the scientist chat because I was like, what book do I want to start? I still need to read Bloodbound because that is my book club pick on Patreon. But I'm going to start with Beneath because that's the one that got the most votes. Now, I've got more to update you on because I spent a good portion of time in my last clip talking about the play that I'm in and the character that I'm in. I'm cutting a whole lot of that out because when I gave that update, I was playing the character of Frances, the Southern Baptist cousin who was just appalled by everything going on around her, and I was talking about her journey and her trajectory and all this stuff. And then I got to rehearsal on Monday. We found out that an actor had to drop out for unforeseen reasons, and we experimented for a second. He took me out of the part of Frances and put me into the part of Meredith. These two characters are polar opposites. Frances, good, clean, Christian fun. Meredith, bitter at the world, foul mouth, wants something terrible to happen at her sister's wedding. They are very much polar opposite characters, and they have to be played in two different ways. And even though I grew up a whole lot more like Frances, I feel so much more at home playing Meredith, and I am officially now playing Meredith, which is fantastic. The only downside to any of this is I had already memorized about 30% of my lines as the other character. So now Meredith has more lines than Frances. You'll probably, yeah, she got some lines. I think I counted, I have close to 400 lines. So as much as I want to read right this second, I'm going to eat my McDonald's, catch up on some booktube, study for about an hour, and then relax and get some reading in. I do look like a wet rat today. The weather has been crazy. School has been crazy. I have one more exam to give, one more class, and then I'm done. But y'all, the scientists have just been kicking butt. I am so proud of us. So proud of us. I am gonna go get out of wet clothes and chow down on my cheeseburger. That's all I want in the world right now. This is a very quick update. I'm not even talking about my book right now. To let you know that this teacher is now on summer break. I have moved my classroom. I have stuffed report cards. I have checked all the boxes, and now I'm about to nap and then start my summer break by binge reading a book. What could be better? I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, friends, here is the dealio. And I was gonna say unfortunate, but it's not unfortunate because I am just a human being living my life, right? So I really thought I was gonna get to read more this week. There were some things that happened that made me like bitter and angry. And when I'm bitter and angry, I want to listen to music. So I lost a lot of potential audiobook time, even though I didn't have an audiobook going, where I just wanted to listen to music. I have a playlist on Spotify called Heart Punches, and it's what I listen to when I'm angry or sad. I wasn't sad. I was I was bitter. I was angry, not at any person, just at like circumstances. And so I don't know. Sometimes you just need to like honor what you want. And I don't always want to read because I'm a human being and I have multiple interests. But let me kind of talk about my week in different aspects. First of all, work. I'm done. And if you're like, well, what are you feeling so bitter about? It all has to do with work. Okay. So I'm done. I packed my classroom up. I got all my stuff in my new classroom. I have shut the door on 7th grade math for the 25-26 school year, and I don't have to think about it for 2 whole months. I have a cat who is being such a little needy McGreedy right now. That's what I call them when they're like being attention hogs. Needy McGreedy. Also, she threw up on my new comforter, but we still love her. Okay, so that's work. I'm done. Next week's vlog will be full of reading because, oh my gosh, I have time. I have time now. Then we've got the play. We've got theater, which I was trying to also fit reading around. Had I stayed the character that I was originally cast, I also would have had more time to read because she has way less lines and I had already gotten like 30% of the way through memorization. However, this new character that I am so excited about, I feel like I get to play somebody, so many layers, and like I have things that I get to do that I would never do as a person. So I might talk about those in like, I feel like in June, I'll probably do a like spend a week with me as an actor vlog, which is a little bit different than my normal content, but I'll be able to tell you some of the like shenanigans I get to do. It's gonna be a crazy time. But reading wise, I did finish The Caretaker and we have already talked about this, but I wanna talk about it more. I have not stopped thinking about it. It is a 4.5. I think if my brain was smarter, it would be a 5-star. But there were some things I just didn't catch on to, and it makes me mad that I didn't catch on to them. And so that's why it's a 4.5. It's a me problem, not a Marcus Kluwer problem. My friend Kimberly on YouTube makes content about this man's books that are like the best deep dives. Like the author himself has commented on them being like, these are the best videos about my books that are out there. So I am in the process of watching hers. And like I said, that video is 4 hours long. So that has also occupied some time this week. But like, this is just the kind of horror I like. So knowing that I don't really like body horror, I don't really like fast-paced like slasher gore horror. I like horror that creeps under your skin and you don't realize it's there until it's there. If you have recommendations for me, please let me know. So then I also did start Beneath by Ariel Sullivan, but I just haven't had much time to read. I was hoping to read a whole lot once school ended on Friday, but then my best friend came over and we ended up spending like the whole weekend together. And I will always say I prioritize people over my booktube channel. I am a person that keeps like a really, really tight circle of people in my life, and when I want to spend time with them or they want to spend time with me, they are my instant priority. So we had a really good time. We had lots of good food. We like pigged out this weekend, if I'm being perfectly honest. I still have some leftover pizza in there. We watched a docuseries on YouTube called Partners about the 2025 pickleball season, about all the craziness of the partners that got switched around. So I don't know, just hanging out with my person all weekend was what I needed more than I needed reading. That said though, I did get 150 pages into Beneath and I am loving it. I'm just not reading it as quickly as I would hoped. So in next week's vlog, that is what we will be starting with. Now, as far as Escape the Readathon, because I know there are some people here that really want to know how the scientists are doing, I'm wearing Scientist Blue today. This is one of my favorite colors to wear. You can't tell, but this is a romper. I ordered a couple of like rompers and like lounge sets to start wearing to rehearsal because I just want to be comfortable there and not like worry about my outfit. This romper can be worn backwards or forwards, so it can be a v-neck or it can be just like a regular t-neck, but it kind of makes me feel like I'm wearing a baby onesie. But I'm still gonna keep it because like I think the purpose that I got it for is gonna be very useful for it. It just feels kind of silly. I do a lot of like kneeling on the floor, and there's one point where I'm intoxicated and I have to like roll over on the floor and do something. I just want to be comfortable, right? So Escape the Readathon. I'm sorry, I got off track. Scientists are speeding through this spaceship. Like I can't even keep track of where we've been, but we are currently in the whatever room requires you to read a book that is blurbed by an author that you like. So Beneath has been blurbed by Sarah J. Maas, so that works perfectly for me. Who knows if I'm going to finish that book before we get out of the room? My guess is not, but hopefully I'll still be able to use it for pages. But I'm having a really good time with it. Next week, I'm really looking forward to having devoted sections of my day where I have no priorities other than reading. I think I'm going to break my days up into reading and line learning, but we'll talk about that next week. Sorry that this vlog was a little bit anticlimactic in regards of like me consuming a whole bunch of book media, but it was just one of those weeks, right? If you watched all the way to the end of this video, leave me any kind of blue emoji that you would like to. I have my Patreon and all my social media linked down below if you want to keep up with me in any other way here on the interweb, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye guys.